To begin our Sunrise Smart Start this Tuesday, we mark the 16th day of straight, unsanctioned correction officer strikes across New York, and firings are currently underway.
Families of inmates, COs, they're going to have separate rallies today at the Capitol calling for improved working and living conditions at all the state-managed prisons. These rallies come as the state begins the process of letting go of officers who remain on strike. A letter sent to the COs over the weekend told them if they were not back at work by Sunday, that will be written up, deemed to be a resignation. The Department of Corrections says fewer than 10 officers as of Monday morning had been fired, declining to provide more precise numbers or tell us which facilities affected the most. The state is also starting to drop health insurance plans for COs considered AWOL, as well as their families.
Nobody wants to work 24 hours straight. It doesn't matter what they're paying you. You have to have a family life. The staffing levels are low. Nobody wants to take this job.
The emotional toll has been real, but we're standing firm because if giving in would mean accepting the same unsafe and unfair conditions that led us here in the first place.
These are officers who have been AWOL for 10 days in a row on their work days and then missed that 11th shift. That will continue to evolve over the next several days.
Doc says the strike is costing taxpayers, saying the state has spent $25 million in the response for the last 2 weeks. It would not say how much it would have spent otherwise, say for normal weeks during the same time period.
Meanwhile, Thomas Gant of the Center for Community Alternatives will be among those in Albany, demanding reform on behalf of people currently behind bars. Gant was previously convicted and served 25 years in prison for murder, and he now serves as a justice reform advocate and youth mentor.
We want folks out of their cells. Most folks have been stuck and locked in their cells for upwards of 24 hours a day. So we're going to show up in Albany and demanding that we want operation of the facilities back up and running. And then we're also going to ask for the passage of urgent reforms.
Gant says those reforms include proposals such as the Earned Time Act and elder parole.
All of this is happening as another inmate has died while in state custody. According to a report in the New York Times, he was beaten by correction officers. This
reportedly happened at Mid-State Correctional Facility, just a 3-minute drive from the Marcy Correctional Facility, which is where Robert Brooks from our area was beaten to death, and 6 officers face murder charges in that case. Now the state is investigating that second death. The Times reports in this case that officers are once again to blame, based solely so far on interviews with inmates. The inmate who died at Utica Saturday is 22-year-old Messiah Nantwi, but a state corrections spokesperson has not yet said how he died. 11 prison staff members have been placed on administrative leave. Nantwi was serving a 5-year sentence for a gun conviction in the Bronx. He was also facing murder charges in connection to the killings of 2 people in Harlem in 2023.
Happening today, a teacher from Victor accused of raping a student in December is due back in court to face a judge.
And investigators do say that 66-year-old David Porter, here on your screen, engaged in sexual intercourse with a minor. Deputies say there is no evidence that the act took place on school property, but do note while the victim is a student, they are not a current student of Porter's. An order of protection was issued on behalf of the victim, and the district says it put Porter on immediate leave and had legal counsel seeking interim or immediate suspension of his teaching certificate. Additional support and resources are available to students and staff, and they also say if anyone believes they know anything about this case or who may have information about others who may have been victimized by Porter, you are asked to please contact investigators. He'll be due back in court at 2 o'clock this afternoon after being arraigned Saturday and then released on his own recognizance.
Happening tonight on Capitol Hill, Congress will be there for President Donald Trump's joint session address to the chambers. That's a live view from D.C. He's promised major announcements, including an update on the Ukrainian minerals agreement that fell apart last week, while Republicans expect to hear more concrete plans for their key priorities. Several congressional Dems say they are split over whether to attend.
To strengthen our economy, to make our streets safer, and our nation healthier.
It's going to be a MAGA pep rally, not a serious talk to the nation.
A White House official says the president's senior advisor, Elon Musk, will be there. That speech begins at 9, and you'll see it carried live here on News 8.
At the same time, hundreds of Western New Yorkers lined Route 332 in Canandaigua, hoping to draw some attention before Trump addresses Congress today.
They were specifically calling out Republican Congresswoman Claudia Tenney, who represents them, saying they're not pleased with some of the action she has taken lately. Protesters tell News 8 they want her to really consider issues that affect people here in her district, including her support of the president. One issue close to home for them as well is what's happening with Ukraine. Tenney previously voted against further aid coming from the U.S. Last week, the Congresswoman did introduce legislation urging the European Union to designate the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps as a terror group, saying it is aiding Russia's war against Ukraine. But protesters say it's still not enough. She will be attending the joint session of Congress tonight, and we do expect to hear from her this afternoon before that begins, and we'll bring you the comments on air.
We also have an update to health setbacks for Pope Francis. The 88-year-old pontiff was reportedly having some more breathing problems yesterday. Doctors had to clear his lungs twice as Francis battles double pneumonia in a Rome hospital, and the Vatican says his prognosis remains guarded.
Getting you ready to head out here this morning, forecasting in just a second. First, though, another live view over downtown and our Greater Rock Sky Eye, crossing the river in and out of Rochester, moving along just fine. 490 coming up from Victor, Eastview Mall, getting to Bushnell's Basin. Everything moving along at speed. James, we had that quick system fly by, a couple of raindrops, snowflakes here, but we'll be good to go today.
In and out.
Yeah, it's out of here, and I'm hoping we get a little bit of sun, but for the most part, it is just going to be cloudy throughout the day. Tomorrow, that's when we get the rain and wind. It looks like it could rain nearly all day, but the heaviest stuff is in the morning. Flood watch in effect. That just means there's the potential, especially with the snow melt as well. I think that's kind of the biggest concern, but the majority of us should be just fine. Then Thursday, I don't think we quite get cold enough for any accumulating snow there. And it's kind of interesting because we go down toward the weekend and then come back up next week, and we peak on Wednesday.
How about that?
Just like we are doing this week. Yeah, cyclical, we'll say.
And getting there as we make our way through March. That does it for us here this Tuesday morning. We're back here in 30 minutes.
Thank you for joining us. Have a great day.
Follow News 8 wherever you are on RochesterFirst.com, Facebook, X, and on our app for news and weather.